Hello, welcome. This is Awaken to Truth, and I am Michael Smith. And it has been a long, long time since I have sat behind this camera and microphone and recorded anything. I've had a lot of intentions of getting back into it, but life has just uh, been extremely busy, and I thought no better time to get back in than with an event like we witnessed yesterday. Some of you might ask, well, are you going to be doing consistent videos? I plan to, so we'll see how it goes. There will be videos. There will also be a podcast format because this is primarily going to be a podcast moving forward. If you want to watch it on video, great, but it'll also be uploaded to Apple, Spotify, all the major podcasting outlets. So anyhow, want to go ahead and jump into what took place. All of us at this point, this is obviously not breaking news almost 24 hours later, over 24 hours later when I'm recording this, but I just thought it would be something that we could kind of kickstart some of the topics and things that we will cover and discuss in the days and in the weeks to come. Yesterday, all of you probably know where you were when you heard that there was an assassination attempt on the almost Republican nominee for president, that is Donald Trump, and of course, the 45th president of the United States. So all of you have basically seen that at this point. But I will go ahead and show that event here, because there's something I want you to take a look at the end that we will get to a little bit later in the broadcast. So all of you have seen this part, I'm sure. You've seen the shots that were fired, but let's take a look at something that happens a little bit.
Take a look at what happened.
Go back to that first part.
Just said, take a look at what happened.
And you see him grab his ear, the side of his head. That was a pretty shocking moment, because when I first saw that live, I saw it within a couple of minutes after it happened. The questions were, is he down? Was he killed? All kinds of things going through my mind. I saw it I was sitting at the Cincinnati Reds game, actually, and I saw it just on a YouTuber who just happened to be watching it live and was able to get that out, like literally before any of the news stations, any of the media outlets. There's Trump coming down. This is what I want to point at. Here in a minute, you see the Secret Service escorting him. It's been a lot of scrutiny, and rightly so, around their job, the job that they did yesterday. Thankfully, the job ultimately was accomplished, that he was safe. But take a look at a couple of these ladies here that are Secret Service agents, particularly the one that's a little bit heavier, for lack of a better description. She's got her gun out, trying to reholster it right there, cannot get it reholstered. Now, I don't want to make too big a deal out of that, but trying to get it reholstered again, struggles a little bit, gets it back in there finally. All of them looking a little bit unsure of what to do, discombobulated. So that's not a good look when your Secret Service agent is not able to reholster their weapon. Now, again, we'll get back to that here in a little bit. The Secret Service has kind of been under fire for a lot of different reasons, and we will touch on that a little bit later. But what we witnessed was an incredibly rare event, as should be obvious. This is something that hasn't taken place in my lifetime. Many of you probably hasn't taken place in your lifetime. Something that we've seen in this country 3 times over the last 60 plus years. And that is a president being assassinated or attempted to be assassinated. Now, I know Trump is not currently the president. Joe Biden is currently the president, but I'm lumping him in that category because he was president. He was the 45th president. He is currently running for president, and the chances are looking better and better that he will be the president in the very near future. possibly being the 45th and the 47th president. But something that's happened only 3 times in the last 60 plus years, and reminiscent going back 100 or so years ago with Teddy Roosevelt being shot as he's giving a speech. I don't remember exactly what it was that was in his pocket, but there was something in his pocket that stopped the bullet from hitting him, and he walks away unscathed. Now, Trump wasn't unscathed. Obviously his ear was hit pretty good. There was a lot of blood, and there were a lot of reports about exactly what happened, but it does seem now at this point, it has been 100% confirmed that it did nick his ear. Did it go through his ear? Did it slice across his ear? I haven't heard any of that yet, but certainly as far as a long-term standpoint, he is okay, but was not unscathed. And this is something that, one of those events that kind of shocks everybody, but almost surprises no one. I don't know anybody, there might be some people out there, but I don't know anybody personally that's like really surprised that this took place. Obviously, when it happens, it's very shocking. Nobody is expecting it. We've seen dozens upon dozens of these Trump rallies but it's not really something that surprises. I think that there's a lot of people that maybe it would be going a little bit far to say that they expected this to take place, but certainly was something that was in the back of their mind that this absolutely could take place. But when it does take place, it's different. Now it has happened. Donald Trump was shot at. He was inches away from dying. There's been all kinds of things. It's millimeters, it's centimeters. I don't know. He was definitely 2 or 3 inches away from dying. Exactly how far the distance was between him being okay and him, them preparing for a funeral for Donald Trump. I don't know the exact distance, but it was a matter of 2 or 3 inches. There's no doubt about that. And the reason that this isn't surprising is because there has been such vitriol and hatred that has come down against Donald Trump really since he went down the escalator in 2015 at Trump Tower. From that point forward, it has been a relentless, nonstop attack against Trump. He has been called every ism that you can call. He's been called every name that you can call. And he has been attacked in a way that no politician in American history has ever been attacked. And now it has culminated with him joining a very small group of presidents and or presidential candidates who, I'm just going to say presidents because he was president, even though he's not president now. So he joins a very small group of presidents who have been shot at and who have been either assassinated or an attempt to assassinate. But of all of them, with the exception of maybe Lincoln, who was at the most controversial, divisive, pivotal stage in American history with the Civil War, take him out of it. But of any other president that has been under this type of attack, I think that Trump kind of stands alone in it not being something that took really anybody by surprise. We know that there are people that absolutely hate Donald Trump. And it's not just that there are people that absolutely hate Donald Trump. The entire media industrial complex, with the exception of, I guess Fox News, there's kind of some varying opinions on that, station. But the whole media complex hates Donald Trump, and they have been spewing that hate of Trump for years now. It's going on a decade. We've seen everything from smears to attacking him personally, to attacking his family, to attacking his motives, to attacking his business, to attacking his behavior with all of these lawsuits that have come against him, and not even just lawsuits, but also criminal trials that he is now going through, or has been through one, and there's several more on the horizon. It seems like those are potentially kind of falling apart as we go forward. However, he's endured all of it. And it's no real surprise that it culminates in shots fired at him actually being shot, even though it wasn't a big injury or anything like that. Certainly, if you were standing on a stage giving a speech and you heard gunshots ring out and you felt it whiz across your ear, only to find out that your ear had in fact been pierced in some way, that is a pretty traumatic event. That's an event that, nobody is really going to forget. And it's an event that he responded to in real time in quite an incredible way as he gets up, pumps his fist, and tells everybody to continue to fight. Now, how many men out there would respond to getting shot like that? I don't know. I don't really think that there's that many. And I think that probably Trump won some supporters yesterday that maybe he would have won no other way. Literally this taking place, him getting shot, getting up, and responding with the show of, there's really no other way, whether you like him or whether you don't like him, to call it bravery or strength. The way that he responded was really incredible. And there's no way that you could, kind of stage or plan for that response, because nobody ever plans to get shot. Now, immediately there was left wingers that believed that this was staged, that believed that this was something that was set up just to try to get sympathy, for him to get up and shake his fist and, triumphantly show how strong and how determined he is. That clearly very quickly became a left-wing fantasy when we found out that there was a shooter on the rooftop. Shots absolutely did ring out. A shot absolutely whizzed across his ear. There were innocent bystanders that were killed and or injured, and there's a full FBI investigation going on. So that left-wing fantasy was dismissed very quickly, even though it was circulating almost immediately after this took place that, it was just staged. It was just something that, that he did. But I think that there's supporters that were not supporters that are now saying, I'm going to vote for this guy because, what I just saw, I can't unsee. And the response to this is something that I want to be representative of our country. When you contrast that response versus, Joe Biden just earlier this week at the NATO summit, once again, it was better than the debate that he gave against Trump, which was awful, but it wasn't good. He said that Trump was his vice president. He called Zelensky Putin. Again, just gaffe after gaffe. The guy's clearly not in good shape. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's just outright dementia. There's some people that I think the New York Times has reported that a specialist in Parkinson's disease has been to the White House several times over the last 6 or 8 months or so. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly what it is. All I can tell you, and anybody that watched the debate a few weeks ago can clearly tell you that something's not right with Joe Biden. And I think that the contrast is clear. Joe Biden can barely stand and give an interview. Donald Trump gets shot, gets up, stands, and walks off, showing a display that will go down in history. That this, as bad as it is, as awful as it is, it's a historical moment. It's something that if you're in your 20s now, your kids are going to read about. They're going to see the photos of this. Your grandkids, probably your great grandkids. However long this country goes on, these images are going to be displayed. It was clearly a historical event. And a historical figure, somebody who has been lambasted and attacked beyond what I believe anybody in American history probably has. And so there's a lot going on out there. There's a lot being discussed out there. Like, is the media to blame for this? Is the Democrat Party to blame for this? Who is to blame for this other than obviously the shooter? Of course, there's also wild theories such as, is there something else going on behind it? Is there, some type of conspiracy? Is it a deep state cover up? Was he left there as a sitting target on purpose because there's some shadowy figures behind the scenes that are pulling? I don't know. I don't know any of that. But, what we know is that he has been relentlessly attacked. And I know personally from talking to individuals that one of which is I'm friends with, that people buy it hook, line, and sinker. They truly believe that this guy is a threat to the American way of life. He is a threat to democracy. They're just blind to the plain fact in front of them that the very things for years that they have accused Donald Trump of doing or that he will do are the very things that they are doing to him. He's a threat to democracy. He'll persecute his political opponents with the power of the presidency. Yeah. All while that is being done to him from the other side. And there was a fact check during the debate that, he said that, this guy pointing to Biden, has come after me. And one of the fact checks was there is no proof that Joe Biden has had anything to do with any of the prosecutions that have come against Trump. Really? The media clearly thinks that the American people are stupid. They think that we're absolute morons. And unfortunately, some are. But at this point, is anybody really? Of course, we know that Joe Biden personally, is not the one who has had these lawsuits, but it is a fact that a high-ranking official in the Department of Justice, in Biden's Department of Justice, left the Department of Justice and went and took a position in the Manhattan's DA's office to be a part of this prosecution that convicted him of the felony for the bookkeeping thing, the 34 counts where he 34 times recorded this particular transaction. And he has now, been charged on 34 counts of a felony, which, by the way, is a non-factor now. No one cares. All of the ways that they have tried to pin things on him and paint him in various things and now convicted him of a ridiculous felony, and no one cares. It's a non-factor. It wasn't a big factor before the debate. After Biden's performance, it was a non-factor. After he's now been shot, it's even less of a factor. But that has not stopped the media from continually, coming after him and calling him, I would say, everything but Hitler. But they have gone and actually said that he is like Hitler, or that he has Hitler type sympathies or tendencies. And so, here is the reliable mainstream media painting exactly that just some time ago, not very long ago. So take a listen for yourself.
When former President Donald Trump allegedly praised Adolf Hitler, saying the Nazi leader had, quote, done some good things. According to a new book, The Return of Great Powers by CNN's Jim Sciutto, retired General John Kelly, who of course served as White House Chief of Staff in the Trump administration, recounted several conversations where Trump spoke favorably about Hitler. From the book, quote, he said, well, but Hitler did some good things, Kelly said one conversation with Trump. I said, well, what? And he said, well, Hitler rebuilt the economy. But what did he do with that rebuilt economy? He turned it against his own people and against the world. And I said, sir, you can never say anything good about the guy. Nothing, end quote. Trump also admired Nazi officers' loyalty to Hitler, according to Kelly.
Okay, so this is something that has been reported by the mainstream media. Also, the Washington Post sometime back had Trump and Hitler side by side. I don't know if you can see that. That was on the front of the Washington Post. And more recently than that, the New Republic magazine actually superimposed certain aspects of Hitler's face onto Trump, saying American fascism, what would it look like? Well, the problem is he's already been president. So we already know what it looks like. So this game that the media is playing, I think that's why to a large degree, it is not overly effective. And the fact that from those same sources of truth that tell you that Trump is Hitler and that, he's going to bring fascism into America, they also tell you things like this. Here is the one and the only, the great liar that is Joe Scarborough, talking about Joe Biden. Have a listen for yourself.
There's such a challenge for the Biden team, because as I've said here on the show over the past couple weeks, I've spent a good bit of time with Joe Biden. I've spent a couple of hours with Joe Biden, sitting, talking, going around the world as far as talking issues, talking the economy, talking inflation. And I must say, when I was talking to him, my thought wasn't, oh, poor guy. My thought was, oh, my God. I wish Dr. Brzezinski were on the other side of the table right now, because these two guys, I mean, 50 years of experience. And Joe Biden.
If only his father-in-law could rise from the dead and join forces with Joe Biden. Oh my goodness, wouldn't that be incredible? That's what Joe is referring to.
Biden hasn't forgotten it. He may get pissed off at a press conference, and he may be thinking about the Mexican border deal and say Mexico instead of Egypt.
Look at
That's what he's talking about. He circles back around, gets to Egypt. He might misplace a word here and there, but you talk to him for hours at a time. Is he slower? Does he move slower? Yeah, he's moved slower. Is he stiffer? Yeah, he moves stiffer. Have trouble walking sometimes? Yeah, so did FDR. We got out of the Depression. We won a GD war against Nazism and against the Japanese. But comparing that guy's mental state, I've said it for years now. He's cogent. But I undersold him when I said he was cogent.
He undersold it.
He's far beyond cogent.
It's beyond that.
In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
There we go.
Intellectually, analytically.
Yep.
Because he's been around for 50 years.
It's the best Biden's ever been.
I don't know if people know this or not. Biden used to be a hothead. Sometimes that Irishman would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. This is... And I don't really, you know what? I don't really care. Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth.
F you if you can't handle it.
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close.
The best Biden ever. So this is coming from the truth bearer, Joe Scarborough, who expects us to believe everything he says about Donald Trump is true, while he tells outright and bold-faced lies about Joe Biden. And that, what you just witnessed right there is literally Soviet-level propaganda. That's all that is. There's no way anyone with a brain, anyone with a conscience, anyone who's actually attempting to tell the truth in any form or fashion could say that the Joe Biden that we have seen for the last 3 years is the best version of himself that there has ever been. Everyone knows that that's not true, except for Joe Scarborough and the maybe 10 or 15% of Americans that are dumb enough to tune in and take what he says seriously and believe that they are actually getting anything other than propaganda. And there's the big lie of the media. They talk about Trump's big lie about the 2020 election. We're not going to get into that right now, but certainly there was a lot of strange things that happened. There also was no real indication that could totally prove that the election was stolen, but there are various things that absolutely can prove that the election was interfered with in certain ways. Now, as far as finding ballots or things like that, we haven't found that. So maybe maybe there is nothing to that, but we absolutely know that there was interference with the Biden laptop story. It was censored on Twitter. It was censored many places. There was the sham of the 50 so-called national security experts or intelligence experts coming out and saying that Trump was simply spewing Russian misinformation in the 2020 presidential debate when he mentioned the laptop, Hunter Biden's laptop. We now know that all of that was absolutely true, what Trump said, and these national security experts and all of the people that censored the story were absolutely wrong, that it was a lie. So they talk about Trump's big lie, but you just witnessed the big lie of the media. It's not just Joe Scarborough. He's just one of the major faces of it. It's MSNBC, it's CNN, it's ABC, it's NBC. You've seen all of it. They have lied now for years, talking about the greatness and the virtues of Joe Biden and how with it he is. And how often did we hear over the last couple of years, yes, he looks terrible when he goes out and speaks to people. He forgets things. He can't remember, words. He loses his train of thought, but you should see him behind closed doors. He's amazing. That's all a lie. If you didn't know it before, we all know that that is a lie. Even the hardest Democratic supporters can no longer think that Joe Biden is, as Scarborough would say, cogent. He's just not. He's not with it. He's not at his sharpest. How bad is it? Well, we probably don't know. His own cabinet reportedly this week does not even know because they haven't had a cabinet meeting with him in almost 10 months. Is that true? Probably not. I'm sure many of them are well aware of the condition that he's in, but everybody is having to, run cover. Everybody is having to try and protect their own hide because they have been lying to you. They have been lying to me. They have not just been lying to Democrats. They have been lying or Republicans. They've been lying to Democrats, Republicans, libertarians, independents, Green Party, you name it. They have lied to the entirety of the American people, and they have been caught. So what else do they have? Is it just irony? Is it just happenstance? Is it just a coincidence that when literally they almost have nothing left that they can try because they've tried it all, it's been exposed for anybody that has eyes to see or just look at plainly what's in front of them. And within a matter of weeks of this massive exposure, there is an attempt upon Donald Trump's life. What else is left? What else is left? Who was behind it? I don't know. Besides this 20-year-old, I make no claims. I make no assumptions. All I know is it's not surprising that this took place. And, I'm thankful that we're not here today talking about how Donald Trump was eliminated and how there's going to have to be a new nominee to run against Joe Biden. So, I'm very thankful for that. But all of this should be very enlightening to people. All of this should be very eye-opening to people. And we should begin to look at everything, unfortunately, that comes out of the media and comes out of many parts of the government with suspicion. And many people are at that point that they are looking at things with suspicion. They are not, and that's problematic. That's not good. It's not good that we've gotten to this place. We shouldn't have to look at everything with suspicion, because when you look at everything with suspicion, you're going to look for things sometimes that aren't there, because sometimes they probably are telling the truth, but they have lost their credibility. Our government has lost their credibility in many cases. Our media has absolutely lost their credibility. They are crumbling right before us. And, and it's really astonishing to see and to witness the fact that we are getting to kind of see this on open display, that we have been lied to for so long. that we are kept in the dark and that we are told what they want us to hear. Now, lastly, before I wrap this episode up, the Secret Service, what is going on there? The big debate is this gross incompetence, or was this a setup? We obviously cannot give you an answer to that today. I don't think that there's anybody on YouTube, anybody on the mainstream media that's going to give you an answer to that today. All we can do is speculate, and you can form your own conclusions. But going back to the video that we saw to kind of launch this this episode off, with Trump being taken off of stage, there certainly is some concerning aspects to this. Evidently, I've done some light research, and so I don't know that my numbers are totally accurate. So I want to put that out there to begin with. But from the little bit of research that I have done, I have found some sources that have stated that it is now the Secret Service's goal or directive, kind of in this DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, that they want 30% of the agents to be female. Now, why would they want 30% of the agents to be female? I don't know. I do not know. That's like, that's kind of like stating that you want 30% of the makeup artist at Nordstrom's to be men. There's not that many men out there that want to do that. There's a few. And if they want to do it, go for it. Good. If they're qualified and if they're competent to put makeup on and to be a makeup artist and in Nordstrom's, wherever. It doesn't have to be Nordstrom's. I'm just saying they've got the typically ladies that'll sit down and they'll kind of put the stuff on you, and they'll, give you examples of what things will look like. And, so let's just say makeup artists in general. There's not probably 30. You'd be hard pressed to get 30%. 30% of the ballerinas need to be men. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Why do we need 30% of the Secret Service agents, a very masculine job, to be women? Well, the truth is we don't, because there's probably not that many women that are actually qualified to do it. And that's not saying anything negative or sexist about women. That's just stating the facts. There's some things that women are not as well suited to do as men, and there's some things that men are not as well suited to do as women. And for the feminists that say women can do anything, no, you can't. There will never be a woman who is the middle linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. There will never be a woman who is the UFC heavyweight champion of the world in the men's division. You can't do everything. There's some things that men that you're just not going to be able to do. You're not going to be able to compete in that area, and we shouldn't try and force it. Let's say there are some fantastic women out there that have all of the capabilities to be a Secret Service agent. Great. If they're there and if they're able and if they're qualified, let them do it. I don't think that number is 30%. I think it's problematic. And you see that President Trump evidently has a pretty high percentage of his immediate Secret Service here is apparently women. And again, this one here in the middle doesn't look overly confident. She looks lost. And you'll see her try and holster her gun right there. Can't do it. That's not the epitome of training. And we can't holster our gun in a stressful situation. So, the question of incompetence absolutely is a legitimate question. Was it the problem, or could there have been something deeper and more sinister behind it? Sure. I guess there's always a possibility of everything, but we, at this point, we don't have any real reason to think that. But we certainly have some reasons to point at that there was something pretty incompetent going on. Originally, I thought that this shooter was, 300-400 yards away. It's my understanding by listening to other Secret Service agents that the Secret Service snipers, they are tasked with 1,000-yard range. So they are to be looking 1,000 yards in all of the different directions wherever they set these guys up. This shooter was 150 yards away. 150 yards away. I shoot handguns at times. I have one rifle. I'm not certainly an expert with any type of gun. I can shoot a handgun okay. I don't know if I can make a 150-yard like shot on a target if I was trying to shoot a target. I bet if I practiced, I probably could, because it's not a overly far distance for a powerful rifle. And 150 yards, right there, 150 yards from Trump on a roof that, from all of the footage that has been shown, was relatively exposed. It wasn't like it was hidden. I mean, it was right there on the roof. There was all kinds of civilians that saw him crawling on the roof with a large gun. And somehow this was missed by the authorities. It was missed by Secret Service. Definitely a failure in security. Definitely needs to be addressed, and something needs to be done, because that is unacceptable. Very strange situation. Very strange that this seemingly relatively untrained individual was able to just scale this building with a large gun. Now, we don't know details. Did he have the gun on him when he went up the building? I don't know. Maybe he planted the gun there before and it was waiting on him and he crawled up the building. Yeah, I don't know. We don't know the details of all of that yet. We do know that at one point he was army crawling on the building with the gun on his back, and many civilians saw it, and they were calling out. There's been video of that now, of him crawling on the building with the gun, people yelling, "He has a gun, he has a gun, he has a gun." They're yelling, they're trying to get the attention of the authorities and the Secret Service, and it was too late. And there was almost a national tragedy, and there was tragedy, because at least one person, possibly more, I think at this point it's just one that's been confirmed, has passed away. A dad trying to cover his family was killed. Something that was supposed to be a cool, exciting event, going to a Trump rally, ends up being a nightmare for that family, and it's awful. It's terrible that's that's where we are, and that's where the nation is. So glad to be back. Glad to be able to do another episode, talk about this. There's gonna be plenty more to talk about in the future. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you will tune in the episodes to come. God bless you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, if I get this out before the weekend's over, and hope you have a wonderful week coming up. God bless. See you soon.